Welcome to This Week in Guns. This show is brought to you by the Firearms Radio Network and Patriot Patch Company. You make this show possible. That's right. You simply click through our Amazon affiliate link the next time you're shopping online, and a small portion of your sale goes to supporting pro-gun shows like This Week in Guns. This is a podcast that offers you the latest commentary on the firearms industry, news, information, and buzz. I'm your host, Chick Challen, president of FRN, and we have a great panel this week. Well, we have two for right now. We'll see if the panel expands from two. Having some technical difficulties and stuff going on here. But we have John Patton finally returning from the Gun Collective and Patton Media Consulting. Hey, John.
Hey, Jake. How are you, brother?
Doing great. Awesome to have you back on. We have first-timer Luke Crawford, State Director of the Georgia Students for Concealed Carry on Campus. Hey, Luke.
Hey, how's it going? Good to be here.
It's going great. The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the individual co-hosts and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the Firearms Radio Network. Viewer discretion is advised, especially on live shows. And thank you all for watching live on Facebook. John just gave me the thumbs up for the Facebook feed. You can tune in every Thursday night at sometime between 8:15 and 8:30 Central Time, depends on when we get this circus going. But yeah, the Firearms Radio Network page, you can watch live there. You can also watch live on the Firearms Radio Network YouTube page every Thursday night, about 8:15 p.m. Central, 9:15 p.m. Eastern. Patriot Patch Company helps make this episode possible. Actually have a freebie you can pick up at TriggerCon if you're heading out to TriggerCon here in Washington State here this coming week. Stop by the Patriot Patch tables. They're going to be in the hallway as you come in, and you can pick up the Trigger exclusive, only 1,000 of these made, TriggerCon 2017 morale patches. So check it out. If you're watching live, you can get a preview of what that looks like. I'm going to keep it a secret. Also, have the AK-47 cleaning mats, and check out the Dangerous to Go Alone patches. And there's still just a little bit of time left to get into the July patch of the month by joining the Patriot Patch of the Month Club. And that's going to switch to the August patch here, probably in a week or so, or if July sells out before then. So head on over to patriotpatch.co and check that out. Top stories this week start with some positive news. Florida expedited 82,000 CCWs after the Chattanooga attack. The Chattanooga attack took place about 2 years ago when that recruiting office was attacked. And so they have, I had no idea they were doing this, but they responded to that by expediting 82,000 concealed carry licenses over the last 2 years for members of the USMC and the U.S. Navy. So I thought that was kind of cool.
I think that's kind of awesome. I'm surprised they didn't make a bigger deal out of that. That's like a good PR thing. Like, hey, we're backing our military and allowing them to, exercise their rights. I'm surprised they didn't say more, but still awesome. 82,000 people potentially carrying every day. That's great.
Yeah, a quote from the guy that runs that department. Interestingly enough, the concealed carry permits in Florida are issued from the Agriculture Department. But the guy, I guess one of the guys in charge there, says this is just one more example of what we do through our department to make Florida the most veteran and military-friendly state in the nation.
Florida they also have the most crazy people, so that's a good thing.
That's so true.
Right. Florida has also expedited the concealed carry permits for neighbors of, I guess, zombie eating people.
Didn't the guy eat? That was where the bath salt thing started, right?
Yes. I think
that started in Miami.
If you live within the bath salt districts of Illinois or Florida, Could
So
be
like the
Illinois,
whole
too.
state, including some of the Gulf.
Oh, we have some great Florida people stories in the full auto news.
I'm
segment.
so excited for this.
They're awesome. So let's move on to end of positive news here. House spending bill includes selling surplus 1911s through the CMP. All right, Nate Merge just popped in. Nate, do we have you? Nate, are you there? All right, keep checking out your stuff. We're going to keep moving along. So, yeah, we talked about this a little while ago, how the Milsurp 1911s, I think they were actually held hostage during the Obama administration. But it looks like they're going to finally be made available, although I've heard they're probably not going to be cheap.
Yeah, I can't see them being all that cheap. They'll be in high demand.
You know what, though? I don't even care if they're expensive. I think the CMP needs a little bit more funding, so that's pretty cool if they're able to keep most of that. I don't. Did they say potentially 100,000? That's huge.
Yeah, and it's something I think it was, I can't remember how many they said a year, but the big thing that stuck out to me is they said that the Army is currently spending $200,000 a year just to store these guns.
Right.
Talk about some wasteful spending.
That's
Can you
ridiculous.
guys hear me or no?
Hey, we got Nate Murr here.
Oh,
You got me 5x5.
Yes, sir.
5x5.
There he
Talk to
is.
us about the CMP 1911s, Nate.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm excited. I really hope it happens. And I agree with John. It doesn't matter if they're expensive or not. I mean, it's like a classic 1911. I mean, like on the regular market right now, 1911s are like $2 or $3 grand depending on the condition for a World War II era one. So I don't know. It might bump down the price or the price might increase, but either way, I mean, it's still a cool piece of American history.
Absolutely.
So
yeah.
let me give you a proper introduction, Nate. Nate Murr, the Director of Business Development of Kinetic Development Group, has just joined us. Hey, Nate, how you doing?
It's good. Thanks for having me on, Jake. Sorry about the technical difficulties.
No problem. Glad got it sorted out. So let's move on to House GOP ties ATF funding to them rolling back gun regulations. So does that mean ATF doesn't get funded if they don't roll back regulations?
That's a weird way to say that. I'm very confused as to what the hell that actually means.
One thing the act does is forbid any funding to the obligated or expended to implement the arms treaty, the treaty that was signed up by the Obama administration. But the GOP-controlled Senate refused to ratify it at the time.
So I read this article earlier in the week, and the way I was understanding it was that money can't be used to finance anything like Fast and Furious, and I think I kind of had trouble understanding exactly what it limits and what the actual premise is outside of funding being used for trafficking of arms or sting operations or something of that sort. Well,
it'd be great if it cut down on other spending of. Remember, we had an article about how they blew $2 million on informants, hotels, and vacations, and all kinds of silly stuff too.
$2 million on. This is when Holder was in office, though, right?
Yeah, this was a couple years ago.
Well, there's your problem. I mean, not only did Fast and the Furious happen while he was in control, they also wasted millions of dollars. You know, shocking. The GOP wants to cut spending. This is normal, and this is. I mean, I would love to see them roll back, as they say, gun regulations. I really don't see it happening in mass quantity. Maybe 1, maybe 2, if we're lucky. But this would be a very, very interesting thing if we start rolling stuff back. You know, there's so many. Think of how many people right now would literally empty their bank accounts if the NFA was rolled back.
Yep.
I mean, even the freaking Hearing Protection Act would change American history. It would be very, very interesting to see that sort of thing happen.
Yeah, we'll have to see how everything hammers out. Still pretty preliminary at this point. Let's keep rolling here. We got a lot to cover. Hartford gun buyback nets record 207 firearms. And get this, they're going to make these firearms into gardening tools.
I want an AK rake.
That's what I was kind of thinking. I'm like,
have you seen the guy that a guy made an AK from a shovel?
Oh
That
yeah,
was pretty awesome.
he used this the wood handle to make the stock. Even that was pretty cool. He took a flat bladed shovel, hammered it out, and made an AK receiver out of it. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, so they're going to be just cutting the rivets out of the AKs and hammering them back into shovels.
Really crappy shovels.
Yeah, we just have one of these gun buybacks here in Atlanta that some of my buddies and I went down to and went to go try to buy a few guns off of people, but pretty much everything was junk or illegal ATF items.
What if they took AKs and made them into hammers and sickles?
That would be pretty cool.
I'm seeing some interesting guns in this picture from the Hartford Courant. There's an SKS, what appears to be some kind of like Mossberg pump action, then just a standard
I see
AK.
a couple high points.
There's a high point, then an AK pistol, then I can't really, it looks like a side-by-side maybe. Maybe looks like a Calico next to that, which is really weird.
So the best part of this is that gift cards of various denominations were given out in exchange for firearms, and $32,000 worth of IOUs were given out.
Yeah, I had a buddy that went to the one in Atlanta here, and he had like 30 or 40 old junk shotguns that he had accumulated over the years and got $50 a piece for each of them. So he was pretty excited.
Did you guys see that one where the guy took like 2x4s and black pipe from Home Depot and made shotguns and did the same thing? Like he was making firearms for like $20 a pop, but making like 50 or $100.
Yeah, the one they just did in Atlanta, they'd offer you $25, $50, or $100. I think they caught on to that because people were showing up with just like all sorts of junk. Because that's what I wanted to do. I was like, take some conduit and 2x4s, and now I have a shotgun.
Awesome. Are the people ever going to see those IOUs is what I'd like to know.
Yeah, kind of doubt it.
I want my Chili's gift card.
All right, let's move on to Californication. California has a bunch of headlines here. I'm going to read through them. California ammo restrictions could add up to $5 per purchase. NRA, ILA, and CRPA closely watching California ammo regulations. California having a hard time implementing new gun restrictions. LA County melted down 4,971 guns into rebar this week. And Big Five Caves, or try that again, Big Five, the store, carves out a deal for itself and stabs California gun dealers in the back.
Shocking? In no way.
Nope.
I never even heard of Big Five, but they can go to hell.
They're really big out west.
They're that sporting goods chain, right?
Yeah, they're. I don't know. They seem to me like your normal sporting goods chain.
Yeah, 433 locations spread out over 11 western states.
Yeah, they're pretty big out there, and so apparently they were at the table with like the gun owners of California and everything when these laws were first, when they were first fighting all this. They were at the table with everyone, but then Big Five hired an outside consulting firm, and all of a sudden they kind of disappeared from these negotiations and apparently disappeared and were carving out a deal for themselves.
Yeah, it cracked me up when I worked at Dick's Sporting Goods in high school, and after Sandy Hook, they went and pulled all the black rifles off the shelves because, the dangerous assault rifles. And then within like 6 months, they opened up a new line of stores called Field and Stream that carried ARs. They had to find somewhere to get rid of all that inventory.
So I'm looking through the pictures from the "We're Pretending Like We Do Stuff" article when they burned a bunch of guns, and there's a lot of nice stuff in there, which leads me to believe that most of it is like evidence.
Yeah.
Because there's like notes, I guess, for reporters to read what happened with most of the stuff. Like I can see in just this one picture, there's a super nice Ruger, what looks to be like a Red Hawk. There's a Desert Eagle, a Judge, a couple of those like North American Arms, SKS, a Remington bolt gun, a nice shotgun, and God knows how many ARs.
Yeah, I zoomed in. Like, there's this one. There's a MAC-10. It says Military Armament Corporation, MAC-10. And Palmdale Sheriff Station deputies responded to a loud music call, something. Deputy asked the suspect for his ID, went into the room of the residence where in the room he saw this loaded 9mm pistol. He was charged for possession of a loaded firearm.
How is that a crime? They should all be loaded.
It's California, bro.
You're not allowed to have a loaded gun because we're scared of it.
Yep.
God damn. You know what's really, really ridiculous about this is look at all of these idiots standing around like we made a difference. This is like it's like a big I'm trying to think of a word that's politically okay to say about these people.
The Desert
it's self-aggrandizing BS.
The Desert Eagle in the picture was turned in because a woman got a lengthy prison sentence and willfully turned in the pistol before going to jail.
She could have given that to me.
Maybe it belonged to the lady who tried to put a round through the phone book in front of the guy's chest.
Oh,
that was a
God.
Desert Eagle, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was last week.
What do you expect from people that own Desert Eagles?
Stop it. You stop it. You stop it.
Very good point.
So, California ammo restrictions could add $5 per purchase. How about that for an ammo tax?
Jeez.
$5 fee for transfers? This is a very complex thing. Let's see.
Yeah, because they start, someone's going to write me in from California, but I think they start having to put ammo purchases on a logbook similar to how they do it in Canada.
Hey, not to hijack this, but I'm looking at this pile of guns, and there's literally an airsoft gun. There's an airsoft AR-15 in this pile of guns. You can see you can see the wires sticking out of it. This is ridiculous.
I'm gonna see if I can spot it. It's like Where's Waldo?
There's probably a lot of airsoft guns in there because airsoft guns have restrictions in California as well. BB guns.
Do they really? I'm like shocked by some of this.
If you even think about a gun, it's punishable by 5 years in prison.
Yeah. Well, they have for the airsoft, they have to be orange tipped. I think they even have to be bright colors. I'm not sure you can have anything that's looks anything like a gun.
Gosh,
I get tired of California not being able to fix itself.
I don't know, we can only handle so much California.
Well, the frustrating thing is all of the people that are vocal about it in California, they do what they can. There are, the same issue that happens nationwide. People are very complacent. That happens all the time. They complain, then they don't do anything until it's too late, and then they complain more. And I'm not saying everybody does this, but there's a large majority of people that do this. Otherwise, it would have been fixed by now. And then on top of that, they're outnumbered. you know, the population of California clearly does not want gun owners there. And it's a shame because California is beautiful and they've got some awesome places to shoot and lots of gun companies out there. But they just can't fix it.
Yep.
So back to the Big Five carve out. This has to do with like security and how these gun dealers store firearms, where they have to put them all in a gun safe or a vault every night. And part of the problem is some of these inventories are so large that it's just almost impossible to do that, you know, within reason to feasibly, you know, shove everything in safes or giant vault. And especially for small mom and pop shops, they just don't have the funds to invest in a bunch of safes or in a vault, or they might not even have the room to do this. And this is where, you know, Big Five hired that lobbying group separate from the pro-gun lobbying groups to get their, they got a special amendment to SB 464, so that they get a carve out for that.
Not surprising.
So they get to adhere to different safety measures from the mom and pop gun stores. So that's pretty upsetting. Let's move on. Personal sound amplification products removed from FDA Reauthorization Act. Now, this was something that no one really knew was going on because it had to do with hearing aids. It had to do with trying to get cheap over-the-counter hearing aids to create another category for hearing aids so that you could just kind of walk in the store and buy a hearing aid instead of going through the doctor and getting a prescription and doing all that stuff, because I guess apparently hearing aids are so regulated. Well, so this new, great, fantastic, you want your grandfather to easily be able to buy hearing aids, right? Yeah. Who could be against this act, right? Well, in this act, it had personal sound amplification products thrown into this new regulation. So, those headsets you wear at the range that amplify sound, those headsets that you wear hunting that amplify sound, they would all of a sudden be thrown in under all these new regulations under this act that had to do with hearing aids.
It shocks me that this is even a thing. I had no idea that there was this much regulation around hearing aids.
I mean, you think about it, for a hearing aid, it goes inside your ear canal. It's kind of going inside you, so I can understand why the FDA would be involved with that. But the fact that it's you need a prescription for a hearing aid, you can't just buy one.
Yeah, that
doesn't make any sense.
Hey, if we're talking about things that go inside you, there's a whole other category of things that the FDA you'd think would be about regulated.
Wow. Jake is talking about sports supplements. Just kidding.
Sports supplements. I think he's referring to double-ended marital aids.
Oh, yeah. Wow. It's going to be that kind of party.
Moving on, gun owners care about safety as much as they did 20 years ago, study finds. Now, that headline, what do you think of that headline alone?
It's kind of insulting.
Isn't weird.
If anything, I would think it'd be even more, not the same.
Right, exactly.
I want to know where this study came from.
4,000 responses to an online survey.
Go ahead.
University of Washington.
There's your problem.
Yep.
Ethics approval. It was approved by somebody in Boston. That's all we needed to know. So the study was funded by the Fund for a Safer Future and the Joyce Foundation. Let's find out what the Joyce Foundation is. Oh, Google, you're so helpful.
Oh, so stupid.
And they're based out of Chicago. And so here's what Google says about the Joyce Foundation. It's a charitable foundation based in Chicago. It has assets of $950 million and distributes about $45 million in grants each year. So basically, it's a foundation for money. That's like, it's not a thing. Ugh. Hey, we decided that we're going to make a study. Like, this is the result of people creating their own version of truth. You know what? We don't believe that what we heard is true, so we're going to do a study, and that's going to show what we want it to show.
That's how they get all their anti-gun statistics. They know the end result they want, and they figure out a way to get it. Let's move on. Pledge your support to this show. You can pledge your support at firearmsradio.tv/pledge. You can pledge for as little as $5 per month to support Pro Gun Radio, like This Week in Guns. You can also pledge at the after show level to hang out with us after the show every other episode. Head on over to firearmsradio.tv, click pledge to support Pro Gun Radio. Kimber announces a trio of new wheel guns, including a 3-inch 357.
How do you make a gun more obsolete than the 1911? I got you. Let's make some revolvers. Yeah.
Hey, Kimber, I want a terrible revolver. I got you, fam.
I got you.
So I think it looks interesting. It's certainly different than what's on the market right now. They basically took their K6S and extended it. It still does not have an exposed hammer on any of these. I'm not really sure who asked for these products, because I didn't think their other one was selling enough to justify this. But hey, I would like to shoot them, especially the longer barrel one. The first gun I ever bought was a 6-inch 357, so I kind of have a special place in my heart for something like that, but I don't get it.
Yeah,
I don't quite understand.
I'm actually kind of excited about that stainless 3. I don't know, super lightweight, 6 rounds of 357 Magnum. I don't know. It could be cool.
Time, I was going to compare it to like a Ruger, the SP-101. It's a the Kimber is a $900 gun. Let's see if I can figure out what the SP-101 is, which would be like comparable.
I'd be guessing like 5 or 6 probably.
$719 is the MSRP on that, and street price probably about $6, maybe $650. But
go ahead, John.
I was just going to say, I would buy a Ruger over a Kimber all day.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Ruger's track record with revolvers. I mean, they've been making them for a long time.
Yeah, they have a pretty much flawless track record.
That was the Super 6. The Ruger Super 6 was even issued to the Navy SEALs at one point. Like, they've been making revolvers forever.
Dang.
Let's see what the MSRP is on these. They've got a kind of all black model with
that one's like $1,000, isn't it?
It's a $1,155. It's got tritium sights, G10 grips, and then they've got another one that's kind of like a two-tone look, which is the same price. Laminated grips on that one. I mean, these look like nice guns, but I don't understand. They can't make a 1911 properly, so why would they make a revolver? And
I will say though, I picked up recently their the Warrior Sock, something like that. It's like a railed 45 1911. I've actually been impressed with it. I wasn't expecting much, but supposedly they've been doing a better job recently as far as like some of the MIM parts go or something like that. And I mean, I'm still spoiled because in competition I shoot a custom built 2011. But this 1911 I got from Kimber recently, it's got about 1,000 rounds to it so far, and it hasn't fallen apart yet. So I don't know, we'll see. But at the same time, it's like a $1,400 gun, and there's stuff like STIs out there that I would, if I was paying if I was paying full retail, then I would probably have gone with something like an STI.
Okay, HK is reportedly $170 million in debt.
That's 170 million euros.
Oh, is it euros?
That's a lot of socialist dollars.
Yeah. So it's about 194 million dollars US. Lots of money.
No bueno. I wonder how much of that has to do with their the new factory they're opening down in Columbus.
Well, this is HK Germany. They're two different companies.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just like how FN has the home office and then you have FN USA. But look, like this is old news to me. It seems like once a decade, no matter what, HK has to either be massively in debt or go bankrupt or sell.
They also still have that outstanding $27 million lawsuit from Orbital ATK over the failure of H&K to deliver the XM-25 grenade launchers.
Oh yeah, that terrible weapon. I forgot about that thing.
So, you would think a company that is established and has been around as long as H&K would be their own bank, wouldn't you?
Well, don't worry about it, Jay, because they're going to dig themselves out of this massive hole with the new HK233 and HK233K, which is nothing more than a 1994 design G36 with a terrible buttstock and more pick rail.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, no, you cannot buy it as a civilian. There is no civilian version.
So, didn't they have a ton of problems with the G36? Like people were reporting like melting plastic and stuff like that on the machine guns?
Because the receiver is polymers. So if when the G36, if guys shot it full auto extensively, the trunnion would get hot enough to melt the receiver. So the thing is, like, the G36 was a really cool gun when it came out in the 90s. It showed a lot of innovation. It just, they used a new material or a newer material, polymer, to make an all polymer rifle, and it was cool, but they didn't really think it out. And here they are making new assault rifles, so they're full auto, select fire weapons, whatever, based off of G36, which is not a good design, and there's no civilian version.
Well,
like,
I had to pull out my patch.
Nice.
My hates customers patch if we're talking about HK.
we don't know.
My Hello Kitty tattoo.
That's right.
Like, nobody's more brokenhearted about HK than me. I mean, I got their company logo tattooed on me for crying out loud. But what I'm saying is, like, they just make one stupid mistake after the next stupid mistake after the next. They alienate their military customers, and that's when they turn back to the civilian market, and they come out with cool guns like the VP9. I think the VP9 and some of their newer handguns are really cool, but where's the rifles? Like, you have this whole aftermarket of all these people making like roller lock clones, like Dakota Tactical and Zenith and all these other people making MP5 style guns. It's all the rage. Like, everybody I know is buying an MP5 clone right now. If HK made an affordable MP5, they would sell like hotcakes. But they don't.
Well, they did that.
I'm not sympathetic. They make so many stupid decisions.
Right?
They finally released some kind of MP5, right? But it's what, like 3,500, $4,000?
It's like a neutered SP89. It's stupid. I think it's the European office controlling the American office, and the American office is like, hey, the American customer wants this, and HK is like, no, they'll get what we give them, and they'll like it too. Well, we all vote. We vote with our wallets, and it's like HK doesn't make any guns that I want right now. The VP9 is like the one gun that they make that I want, but I would buy an MP5 SD in a heartbeat. SBR, make an SBR and factory suppressed gun, and I would buy it in a heartbeat. I'd go through the paperwork, definitely.
The MP5 is the SP5K. That was the gun they came out with. That was like super expensive, and everybody was going, "That's awesome, but why?" Because all the other ones are way cheaper. Why is that so much more? What's also funny to think about is with the G36 we got in the U.S., we got the SL8, which was the non-threaded barrel, like weird single stack mag version of the G36, and what guys.
I know.
And still do.
I did. I was one of those guys, John. I spent $3,000 converting an SL8 over to a G36K, and the week I finished that project, I sold it and bought an AR-15 and never looked back. I'm like, I thought it was cool. Like I was like everybody else. I'm like, this is the coolest thing ever. And they went out of their way to make it difficult to make it like the military rifle. I just wanted a clone of a G36K, and I spent so much time and money. It was brutal. It was miserable. And I'm like, why can't I just go to the shop and buy one? There's no reason. So anyway, to me, it's no surprise that they're this far in debt. I will not be surprised when we hear them declare bankruptcy within another year. I will not be surprised that the brand lives on and continues to make terrible, terrible decisions for what products they make.
Speaking of terrible decisions, Remington's corporate performance rating downgraded.
Here's our Remington article.
Look at all the brands Remington owns right now. Let's see. Remington Handguns, Remington Custom Shop, Marlin, Barnes, AAC, whatever that is, Bushmaster. That looks like Dakota Arms, some brand I've never heard of, another one I can't tell, Timber something, Tapco, and DPMS.
So many great brands.
Yeah. You know what? Marlin used to be a great brand.
Yeah.
They used to be so good.
So did AAC.
Yeah, fair point. Fair point.
Yep. AAC was that was my second suppressor I ever bought, and they're like 15 minutes from where I lived, here just north of Atlanta before they moved to Alabama. And yeah, they were awesome, but since the Remington takeover, it has not been that good for them.
Was Remington owned by Freedom Group, right? Or no?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's the Freedom Group kiss of death is really what it is.
Yep.
But I mean, like, look at AAC. Like, I understand they purchased AAC, but they haven't done anything innovative with that brand in years. Like, that brand stopped being a good brand a long, long time ago. Like Tapco, as much as I want to criticize Tapco, like, they're turning a profit. I mean, like, somebody had to make terrible AK-47 magazines to sell to people at gun shows. Tapco's like, I'm up to the task. Let's do it, right?
Yep.
Remington, like, when's the last time you saw a Remington gun that got you excited? Like, their pistols all had massive recalls, and then all their rifles. I mean, like, everybody loves the 700, and everybody loves a Remington 870. That's a hard gun to beat, but you're not seeing any innovation. Like, oh, I can get an 870 in a different color. Cool. I get hydro dipped in whatever. Like, you're not seeing anything that impressive come out of that conglomerate.
The last time I got excited about a Remington was when I bought my 870 Marine Magnum back in like 2009, 2010.
So
yep.
It says Remington's revenue dropped 30% in fiscal years 2017's first quarter. Predicts it would continue downward trend. But a big reason that they're downgrading them is because they owe payments on a loan for $800 million that comes due in April 2019. And then they're also making payments on $250 million of secured notes that come due in May of 2020. So, Moody's is looking at them saying, well, your sales are going to keep going down here is what it looks like. And how are you going to pay these loans off or get refinanced before April of 2019? It says if they do get refinanced before then their assessment, their performance rating will go back up. But they're kind of looking at Remington right now like, you got a lot of debt there, and we're not sure you're going to get rid of it.
Yeah, and I mean the whole 30% drop in sales doesn't really surprise me in general, though. Just with the how the firearms industry's been since the election, I think everybody's that's not exclusive to Remington and their crappy products.
Moving on, federal appeals court upholds towards the settlement over defective pistols.
Yeah,
this is awesome.
So it was a $30 million class action lawsuit that started over a sheriff's deputy for Scott County. And Officer Chris Carter said that his Taurus PT-140 Millennium Pro misfired after it fell out of its SERPA I'm gonna assume that it was a possibly a Serpa holster, if not
Or
Uncle
Uncle
Mike's
Mike's.
holster,
Uncle Mike's.
and hit the ground during an arrest in 2013. Carter said that the safety was turned on, which, if you're carrying a Taurus, as a cop, I sincerely doubt that it was, and remained active even after he picked it up. So
I'm just wondering what
I
department
want to be
decided
sympathetic to
issue-
this guy that started this lawsuit, but dude, come on. You're a cop and you're carrying a Taurus. That's saying to me your life is worth a Taurus handgun as a cop.
We talked about this at length when this story first broke. And I distinctly remember getting into the conversation about certain departments not having enough money to issue guns, and guys were allowed or told that if they wanted a gun that they had to buy their own. And if they don't make enough money as a department to issue a gun, that typically means they're not paying much, which means this guy didn't make much, so he bought a Taurus or was misguided or whatever. But that was the discussion we had when this first broke. I think this is awesome that the court upheld it, because I think I don't know. I mean, obviously, if you had a $30 million settlement, you would probably appeal it too, right? Like, let's be fair. It's $30 million. It's not a little amount of money. And I believe Taurus was trying to make up for that, with fixing the guns and whatever it was. But the guns didn't work, and they were negligent. I mean, it's that simple. The guns did not work.
Yeah, but they had the exact same thing happen with, what was it, the Brazilian Army or Brazilian police force, and the Curve. I mean, it's like every single gun that they've made has had either some sort of safety issues or massive recalls. To me, I understand they're trying to make it right. The court's making them make it right through the settlement and everything, through the $30 million, whatever. But I just can't imagine a cop buying a Taurus. I'm like, hey, listen, my department doesn't have money to issue me a pistol. A Glock is not even $500 under a Blue Label program, right? I'm like, hey,
They're cheap
John,
on Blue Label.
John,
they're like low fours Blue Label.
I'm a cop. Hey, I need a gun, and I'm scared I might die. My options are this Taurus, or can I borrow $100 from all you guys so I'll get you back. I'll get me on some sort of installment program here, so I don't have to carry a Taurus.
So, well, you could even carry a used Glock. You can get in a used Glock for not much more than
you can get police trade-ins these days for like under $300.
If I called a friend of mine that was a cop carrying a Taurus, I would give him my Glock. I'm like, you need this more than I do, brother. You just take it. Just give me that Taurus.
Use that Taurus for a drop gun, and we'll be good.
Well, it apparently, as a drop gun,
it'll go off.
It is a literal drop gun.
Yeah, right.
It's a gently set down gun.
So, what's really interesting here is this appeal to the settlement terms didn't come from Taurus. That's what I thought the headline said initially, but it came from three plaintiffs, Troy, Richard, and Stephen. So Carter sued Taurus on behalf of himself and more than 1 million Taurus pistol owners. So I assume these are three of the pistol owners that are in that million Taurus pistol owners. Anyways, they appealed it, believing that the $8.3 million in attorney fees were incorrect. They didn't say why it was incorrect in this article. But they also expressed distrust in the expert hired to value the guns for the court and asserted the terms to contradict the Second Amendment because the terms of the settlement allows Taurus to confiscate any effective guns for repairs. I find that very interesting.
I would really have to see that.
Taurus is going to be like knocking on your door. Hello.
Well, they're Brazilian, so it might be a little like way different, like finger symbols or something. I don't know.
Portuguese, right?
Yeah, it'd be Portuguese, but it would also be like very strange. I think I would really have to see the wording in the appeal to know whether or not I believe this quote unquote confiscate thing. Because I think that might be a little bit of a reach. And like what are you really going after here with this $8.3 million in attorney fee being incorrect? Like, in what way?
I assume they wanted more. Yeah.
Well, did they pay $8.3 million? Like, I'm confused here.
Right. Yeah, I doubt they paid a dime because they didn't initiate.
It's a class action lawsuit. That's not how that works.
Yeah. So moving on to losing my spot in the show notes. Washington man pleads guilty to manslaughter from stray bullet. This is an interesting story of what not to do because this guy.
Yep.
This guy had a thief leaving his driveway with his vehicle, and so he chases after this guy, driving away, fired his Glock multiple times, and ended up striking his neighbor like across the street.
No, it was 2 blocks away, right? A 60-year-old woman got shot in the head from 2 blocks away.
Was it 2 blocks away?
Yeah, that's what the article says.
Holy crap.
The Linda Green 61 was hit in the head. Yeah, 2 blocks away from the man's residence.
Jesus.
Yeah, and it said there are numerous strike marks on the front of her residence, as well as her neighbor's home.
It was noted that Tobin's Jeep was later found abandoned a mile away from the scene. The thief has not been found. I'm assuming there's not a single bullet hole in that Jeep.
Jeep's good as new.
Now, see, this guy is an idiot, right? Like, you're in the shower, you see a guy, like, somebody stealing your Jeep. I'm like, oh, okay. Let me just get on the phone and call 911. I'm like, hey, my car just got stolen. This is the make, model, and license plate. You're going to recover your Jeep intact instead of trying to fill it with bullet holes.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how your insurance is going to treat that. So you shot your own Jeep. Yeah, but the guy was stealing it. But instead, he kills this poor old woman 2 blocks away because of negligent accuracy. Doesn't kill the bad guy that's stealing his Jeep. I would have been fine with that. I'm not gonna lie, but so this is the kind of person that should own a Taurus. This guy.
Yep.
This guy is getting what he deserves. I mean, let's be fair. This was pure negligence and stupidity. We talk about this from time to time about how people they have to be responsible for every single round that leaves the gun. You have to be responsible. You have to understand that that's what's going to happen. If you shoot the gun, you're responsible for what comes out of it. And this guy clearly is, he pleaded guilty, so that's okay.
Yeah, I mean, like a Class A felony, he could go to prison for the rest of his life. If you're like, hey, listen, you get to choose between going to jail for the rest of your life, or you can go take this can of gasoline and burn your Jeep down to the ground. I'm like, I'm going to go burn my Jeep down. Like, it's gone. It doesn't matter. It's just a material thing. The guy emptied his weapon trying to shoot his own vehicle. Oh, the guy would have been light years ahead if he never got out of bed that day. That woman would probably still be alive.
Yep.
We've got some interesting comments about this. Somebody in the comments said he might have run after the Jeep and shot at it when it was in front of her residence, potentially.
Oh, that makes sense. That's so much better that he ran after down the street shooting.
Nobody said it was a good idea. And Mr. Kraut is actually in the comments. He's talking about something. Adam, maybe you can cover this on a legal minute. Hey-o.
Yeah, I mean,
the second he pulled the trigger on the first round, it was making a bad decision.
Yep, absolutely. Yep. Yeah, it shows what not to do from A to Z here. I mean, just no. Well,
nothing about that was a good idea.
Yeah, nothing about that was good. I'm offended. We're to the I'm offended section. I'm not necessarily offended. I'm offended at the guy's actions in the previous story. But 2 I'm offended stories here. The first one is Second Amendment Foundation sues for grandparents are forced to choose, give up their guns or give up their grandchild. So, companion story here, Michigan couple sue state to protect gun rights of foster and adoptive parents. So this is a pretty strange situation where, the grandparents are trying to take custody of their grandchild because there's some kind of issues there in the grandchild's life for whatever reason. But the, grandparents are, good people. They just want to take care of their grandson. And so the grandfather actually went to pick up the grandson from state custody, and he was I guess carrying a gun at the time. It doesn't say exactly what happened, but said that they searched him wherever he went to pick up his grandson that was in state custody. They searched him, and then they realized he was a firearm owner, and they said, "Oh, you're going to have to give us the serial numbers of all the guns you own."
Well, it says it's their policy by implementing requirements and restrictions that are actually functional bans on the bearing of firearms for self-defense, both in and out of the home, completely prohibits foster and adoptive parents and those who would be foster or adoptive parents from the possession and bearing of readily available firearms for the purpose of self-defense. So basically, like, their policy is if you want to be an adoptive or foster household, it has to be a gun-free household, is how I'm reading this. And obviously, Grandpa loves the Second Amendment, and they're like, sorry, you can't have the kid because you have guns. So, to me, this is interesting because it's the Second Amendment Foundation files the suit. Like, how come you never hear about the NRA doing stuff like this, really? It's always like, for the individual cases, it's always smaller organizations that go to bat for the victims here. I'm just surprised by it.
Yeah, you really don't see NRA all that often get involved in individual cases like this. It seems they stick to all the big time legislation, stuff like that. But we've seen that here in Georgia. There's a Georgia Carry. They're a Second Amendment rights organization here in Georgia that's done a lot, and they've on multiple occasions gone to bat for Georgia gun owners to help them out.
Well, I guess the NRA has to save their money for terrible Chinese range bags and pocket knives they'll offer me every year.
And flyers. Lots and lots of flyers.
All the flyers. So
it says the Second Amendment Foundation actually has similar litigation pending in Illinois and Oklahoma to argue similar cases that involve foster parents and kids. And we've covered stories like this before in multiple states. Nevada was another state I think we covered them in, where if you want to be a foster parent, no guns. It seems like almost every state takes that stance.
Yep.
I'm just excited for the next story. I wanted to go to that.
Armed guards surround protesters at Women's March against the NRA.
Yes, I love this so much. I saw this earlier this week and shared it on my Facebook page. This is amazing, okay? So a group of women get together to protest the NRA, and then they don't feel safe, so they hired men with guns to escort them and guard them. But they had themes like real men don't need guns, so they hire men with guns to protect them.
The irony is
beautiful. Oh, so strong, so strong. And then, like, they had this other logo, which doesn't make any sense whatsoever to me, which is no one is safe unless everyone is safe. Okay, show me one time in human history where every single human being on the face of the earth was simultaneously safe. Never.
Not once.
And here's the other thing, is that you're never safe. No one is safe. There's no guarantees in life. Safety is not a guaranteed thing that we all are entitled to. You can slip on a bar of soap. That's unsafe, and die and crack your head open, or you could get hit by a car tomorrow, or you could be a 61-year-old woman standing in front of her house and get shot by a stray bullet, or lightning could strike you. The slogan of no one is safe unless everybody's safe is just, I don't know, it gets me. But the fact that they would have to hire private security to come armed because they didn't feel safe protesting the NRA is hilarious.
How about I do a shirt that says "No one is safe unless everyone is armed"?
I like that.
You should do that. There's a couple of tweets in this article I guess this is one of the protesters, Erica Soto Lamb. No idea who that is. Tweeting some person, I don't know, it's like Dana Loesch is somehow tied into this. I don't know, the NRA jumped all over it, of course. The question was, why do all the big anti-gun advocates have security who carry loaded guns? Would love to hear their justification. This person responds with, because people on your side of the debate threaten our lives. We are not anti-gun. Why do you criticize our security? Same you want for self.
That's, yeah.
What? I don't want armed guards. I want me to be armed.
Yep.
Also, you're absolutely anti-gun if you say somebody shouldn't have a gun.
Pretty easy to understand.
And who's threatening her life?
I'm sure.
There are crazy people on both sides. There are people that threaten lives on their side. These quote unquote radical people that get on Facebook and wear these masks and think they're going to do something and think they know how to shoot. That's hilarious. But there's also people on our side that are lunatics, and they threaten these people every day. They're extremes, right? And they say things and do things that should not be said or done. But that does not make either of them justification for being an ironic a-hole.
So this Erica Soto Lamb chick said that Lamb went on to suggest every town is not seeking to ban on guns altogether, but limits on who can have them. She said, as long as you're not a felon, dangerously mentally ill, or other prohibited purchaser, it's all good.
That's absolutely the way it is.
That's exactly the way it is, lady. But this is not an accurate statement, because every town and Moms to Ban Action have both aligned against national concealed carry reciprocity for law-abiding citizens. So I mean, like, this is like the hypocrisy of the year article to me. This is so stupid. It's just so stupid. Like, how can you support a cause and then bring that thing with you to? It's like all credibility just goes out the window.
All right, you can contribute to Firearms Radio Network and This Week in Guns by shopping with our Amazon affiliate link. It's really easy. All you have to do is go to our website, firearmsradio.tv, click anything that says Amazon, basically. Click the Amazon banners, links, whatever, and then shop Amazon like you normally do, and it doesn't cost you anything extra, and you're supporting Pro Gun Radio while you shop Amazon. Like, I know you already shop Amazon all the time. John, you buy a lot of stuff on Amazon, right?
Yes, I do, actually. I absolutely buy a lot of stuff on Amazon. Prime is wonderful. Prime is wonderful. It's very funny. Side note, I caught crap about saying something about Amazon on Prime Day, and the guy who gave me a bunch of crap about, he's like, they're anti-Second Amendment, they don't support guns, but I sell stuff on there. That's what he said. He was mad at me, but he sells stuff on there. It was amazing. It's amazing.
Well, I kind of came to the realization a few years back that if I boycotted everything and everyone who is anti-gun, I don't think I could ever leave my house.
That's true.
And if you're worried about offending people, you'll offend one group by trying not to offend another.
Oh, yeah. No doubt about it.
Well, you can go to Amazon. I'm sure you can find books about how not to or how to offend people. Use our Amazon affiliate link, or you can bookmark firearmsradio.tv/Amazon. We are to the full auto news segment, stories the real media won't talk about, and other crazy stuff. Each of the hosts picks a story to call their own here. All right, who is ready?
I got
John,
one.
what do you got?
Alabama man shoots 820-pound hog in his front yard. So I guess the wife goes out and sees a hog, and then comes inside and says, honey, there's a hog out there, and the dog's barking and yada, yada, yada. Well, he goes outside, and there's a freaking tank in his front yard. Now, for context, like 250-pound hog will have tusks roughly 3 inches or so. That's just a guess. This one has 6-inch tusks and 820 pounds. Let's think about that. 820 pounds. How much do most people weigh? Like most dudes are maybe like $180, maybe. And I think this is just a dinosaur of a hog. It's old, it's been around for a long time, and it came into the wrong dude's yard.
And he kills it with like a 38 special or something.
38. Yeah.
Shot placement, yo.
Probably a Kimber.
Very cool.
We got to look at this, the 1989 classic FBI surveillance van that's on eBay right now.
I looked at that earlier today.
How awesome is that?
Right.
It still has the equipment in it.
Take it away.
I know. I mean, I'm sure the equipment is all like, useless in this day and age. It's been superseded by our iPhones and such, but still, that would be one awesome van to have.
I think it's got like crazy low miles too.
Yeah, I saw it said low miles. I didn't see how many were actually. Oh,
It's like
wow, 23,000. That's nuts.
Most of the time, it's probably just sitting still. This is cool. I don't know that I would ever find a need for something like this, but it's cool.
If I had a
just cool.
museum.
Yeah, like you can if you buy this, you can't take that stuff out. You got to like leave it intact. You got to take care of it.
Yeah, it's history.
Yeah, that's cool though. I think that's neat. I want one of my buddies to buy it so I can see it and not have to worry about keeping it nice.
I can't
Do
believe
the show out of the back of it.
Yeah. This Week in Guns Mobile.
Goodness.
On
there you go.
location. I can't believe it's up to $11,000
Yeah.
bids.
Yeah,
That's
pretty
insane.
crazy. I'd be curious to see where it ends up, if an individual buys it or if it'll end up going to some like museum or history center or something like that.
Oh, some guy's going to buy it just to drive it to all the car shows or something.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Nate, what do you got?
Well, I wanted to talk about Florida man shoots AT&T trucks.
Have y'all enjoyed this video?
I heavily enjoyed watching this video this week.
Oh my god!
This old man goes out, a 64-year-old man goes out and tells them to move their trucks, and they tell him no, that they're allowed to be there. They're working on the line, so it'll be done soon. So he pulls out a ginormous revolver and just starts shooting tires and grills, and then walks down the street and shoots more trucks. Like, I'm willing to bet like he leaves his property at this point. It's no longer his property that he's on. Casually reloads, keeps going on.
He reloads like 3 times.
It's I mean, obviously what the guy did is wrong. Nobody got hurt. It was just AT&T property that got destroyed, so I can't condone his actions, but it's still pretty funny to watch.
Yeah.
Well,
The worst had to be that dude stuck up in the bucket.
Right. There's a guy stuck in the bucket truck.
That had to be a little scary. And then at the end of the video, the 911 operator, they're like, "Are you close to this?" And the guy's like, "No, I'm far away," or something like that. And I'm like, "You're on the other side of the street."
That dude, he just kept engaging too. He's just right there filming it. Like, dude, go away. Stop.
Yeah.
Like, he could easily just turn and shoot you.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was waiting for that to happen. But I guess he deemed that this guy was crazy, but not that crazy.
Well, and then he stops recording before the police roll all the way up.
Yeah.
So
I wanted to see what happened.
I told him to get off my lawn.
Exactly.
Man, old men
Easy,
take their
Clint
lawn
Eastwood.
serious.
Yep.
But this is like one of those classic Florida man, like all the articles that start with Florida man does this, Florida man does that. This is such a classic Florida man story.
You're
Oh,
blocking
no
my
doubt.
view of my neighbor's trailer, damn it.
It looks like a pretty nice neighborhood, though, or halfway decent
For Florida.
for Florida. Oh,
Here comes a
man.
hate mail. So I'm going to take family heirloom mini bomb turns out to be alive.
Wow.
So this like world, I don't know, is it like World War II era? Yeah. Bring back turned out to be a live bomb that the family had had for years.
It looks like one of those bombs you would see like out of I don't know, like a B-52, like massive, like, you know, they drop like hundreds and hundreds of them in a strafing run. That's what it looks like.
Yep. Yeah.
So all I could picture was like the grandkids over the years, like dropping this off the stairs and stuff. Dunk.
Yep.
Catch! Oh, poor Jimmy, he caught the bomb.
So I guess they had it for years. It was like inherited, like Navy veterans keepsake, and they started screwing with it and unscrewed like the tail fin from the body, and they're like, "Oh, there's something in there," which was what they said. It was kind of a heart skipping moment. Hey, there's something in there. It's so crazy.
But now it does say it was a practice bomblet, so I wonder how much damage that would really cause.
I don't know. See, the thing about it is, especially like explosives that are made out of nitroglycerin, glycerin-based explosives become more unstable with time. So,
okay.
like, depending on what explosive was in it, even a small amount of nitroglycerin can level your house. So, there's this guy. I read this book years ago about all the ordnances dropped in World War I in France. They said 1 out of every 4 rounds, howitzer rounds, were a dud. And there's this French guy who found this like big Bertha round in his garden, like in the 60s or something, and he rolled it into his workshop. The guy was a shoemaker, and he used the nose cone to shape leather. So he was just pounding on the shell for years, shaping leather on the nose cone, right? And people were like, "Are you crazy?" And he's like, "Oh, if it was going to go off, it went off a long time ago." And then one day, after beating this thing for years on the fuse, it went off and like leveled a city block in France.
Jeez. Oh my gosh.
All right, so, second round. Anyone have a second round story quick?
I was gonna say other story I was gonna do was the 17-year-old girl calls dad for permission to use a gun. So this is up in Spokane, Washington, which is beautiful country, but it's also, you know, it's a little remote up there. So I guess there's a police chase, and the guy that stole the car, like, basically forced entry into the girl's house, and she was home alone. Her parents had left for work. She was there by herself, so she didn't know what to do. So she called her dad and said, "Can I use your gun?" And the dad's like, "You know it, baby." So she grabs her dad's Kimber or handgun. The girl's name is Kimber, which is confusing. Okay, but I would not be surprised if the handgun was also with Kimber, and placed it under her pillow. She fell asleep, and then she woke up to the sounds of somebody in the house. So she like confronted the guy, yelled at him, and the guy took off running. So I guess the dude stole her boyfriend's ATV to make his escape. But I mean, it's one of those things, like you got this guy, the police are looking for him. It's on the news, like, oh man, this guy's loose in my neighborhood. I'm a 17-year-old girl by myself. You know, what am I gonna do? So she calls her dad, and dad's like, better arm up. So I thought that was pretty cool. She used the gun to thwart off the home invader.
Good for her.
Yeah.
All right. Any other second round? I have to read the title of the other two Florida people stories. Florida woman tortures girlfriend with BB gun and hot sauce. And Florida man charged for phoning 911 98 times in a single day.
Oh, man.
Is that a record? How many times?
Yeah.
I don't know. All right. Well. Oh, wait. Are you on? Who's clicked on the Lego one? Did you guys see the Lego bricks?
Yeah, I was just looking at that just now. That's pretty cool.
So yeah, this guy.
Ooh, that is cool.
This guy, him and his son, they were increasingly interested in World War II history, and they wanted to recreate famous battles using Legos, but they failed to find, you know, weapons for the Lego guys that were, you know, accurate to World War II or whatnot. And he said he actually found out that Lego is anti-gun. The owner is anti-gun, and they say the company Lego does not produce realistic or military play scenarios, which that really isn't true, because they used to have like whole like castle sets with like all these soldiers and everything, and so I don't know, that's not true to an extent. Anyway, so this guy decided to start making his own. He has a background in like CAD and stuff, so he started making his own depictions of World War II weapons as Lego plastic weapons, and he's been doing it for like 11 years now, and he's got like 45 production tools injecting 250 different parts.
Sounds like a pretty solid setup.
They look real. I mean, it looks like Lego brand quality too.
Yeah. Pretty impressive.
Coming to
bipods and stripper clips and all sorts of cool stuff.
Like, if you're gonna step on your kid's toys barefoot, it might as well be a miniature M1 Garand, right?
At least it's cool.
Or how about like these pineapple grenades or whatever they're.
Oh no, those the mace.
Or is that a mace?
I think it said mace. That'd be real comfortable to step on.
Pretty awesome. So the guy, what's the guy's company's name? Brick Arms.
Yeah, Brick Arms. I kind of want to check this out now. This is pretty cool.
You can go to brickarms.com if you're interested. Pretty cool stuff. All right. You can pledge your support for this show. Go on over to firearmsradio.tv/pledge. You can pledge for as little as $5 per month. Also, check out Patriot Patch Company, the Patch of the Month Club. Only a few days left to get in on the July Patch of the Month. PatriotPatch.co. Also, if you're going to TriggerCon in Washington State this next week, stop by the Patriot Patch booth, pick up these exclusive TriggerCon morale patches, limited run, limited edition. Check it out. That about wraps us up. This is part of the show where we see what these guys are up to and where you can connect with them online. So, Nate, what is up with Kinetic Development Group, and where can people connect with you online?
I will be going to TriggerCon next week to get one of those sweet patches. I want to say that right now. Those turned out pretty cool. So yeah, we got me and Daniel O'Brien will be out at TriggerCon. We're gonna be doing the demo shoot, I think, next Thursday, and then the show starts over the weekend. So we'll be manning the KDG booth. If you're from the Pacific Northwest and want to come check it out, you know, you get a firsthand opportunity to talk to me about our products. But if you want to learn more about Kinetic Development Group, you can follow us on Facebook or Instagram, or check out our website. If you want to harass me personally, as always, you can follow GripStop on Instagram, where I will ignore your DMs.
Very cool. Luke, what's up, and where can people connect online?
Yeah, you can, as far as Students for Concealed Carry, you can keep up. We have national pages. We have a Georgia page, and we have pages at most of our college campuses all over the country. So if you're interested in campus carry, you can catch up with us there. As far as keeping up with me personally, you can hit me up on Facebook, Luke Crawford, or Instagram, L_CRAW, or my business stuff, which is Java and Media. We do take pictures and make videos of guns and other fun things in the outdoor industry. So feel free to reach out.
Very cool. You can leave your comments by commenting on the bottom of this YouTube video, or bottom of the Facebook video, or on our show notes on firearmsradio.tv. Leave us an iTunes review. Also contribute to the show using that Amazon affiliate link. Just go to firearmsradio.tv, click any of the Amazon links or banners before you shop Amazon, and it doesn't cost you anything extra, and you're supporting Pro Gun Radio while you shop Amazon. Well, thank you, Nate.
Thank you, Jake. Always good to be on.
Thank you, Luke.
Absolutely.
That's a wrap. We'll see you next week.